I'm doing another random word generator. It's 9:50 a.m. and the word that popped up was neighbor. Kind of like this neighborhood. Neighbor. Labor. Taper. Wafer. Chafering. Neighbor. I'm going to try telling another story. And this one revolves around a neighbor that I recently had. His name was Alex Johnson. And the Johnsons, ironically enough, were actually a very important and impactful family in my teenage years. Alex Johnson's mom, her name's Allie, was one of the best caring and empathic, loving mentors I've ever had. At the time, I was getting my associate's degree at UVU, and Allie Johnson was a mentor in an internship program that I was doing in tandem with my schooling. And some of the things that Allie taught me specifically were that the most important investment that you can make is anything that helps enhance you as an individual. So if you have money and you invest it in acquiring a skill, that's the best investment. If you have a relationship and somehow that relationship is in some way, shape, or form consciously helping you enhance your patience or some kind of characteristic, it's the best use and it's the best investment. And she taught me that as like a 16, 17-year-old kid. Fast forward 15 years, I'm now living in Vineyard, and her son, Alex Johnson, is, coincidentally enough, the first speaker that I hear at church giving a talk. And as he's telling this story, I'm like, this guy sounds so much like Allie Johnson. And sure enough, after sacrament meeting, I go to thank him for the talk, and Allie Johnson is sitting in the second row. And I get to see her, and it was kind of like, oh, cool, this sweet, fun reunion, and it was all hunky-dory. Alex Johnson ends up being put in the first presidency, or he was the first counselor of the bishopric. But Alex Johnson was known as the neighbor, not a neighbor, the neighbor to everyone. He was always bouncing around from house to house, from neighbor to neighbor, helping out with their lawn, helping out with their kids. He was a coach of soccer, of baseball, of football. He was always involved in all of the youth activities. And he was the neighbor. I mean, if you thought about what would be the epitome of a good other-oriented neighbor, and your thought would go, Alex Johnson. And it was 2 months ago that he died. He was at Boy Scout camp and he wanted to get warm, because it got cold up in the mountains, and decided to sleep in the back of his trailer, and got a little Dutch oven going, and threw some coals in there, and then slowly poisoned himself from carbon monoxide poisoning. And that day was one of the strangest days. And then the next month was one of the strangest months that I've ever had. Because Alex Johnson's my age. He's got 4 kids. He's a little bit older. He's 36, 37. He's basically my age. He's in the same stage of parenthood. He's got kids our age. He's got 4 kids. And from carbon monoxide poisoning, left his wife and 4 kids in our neighborhood. And what was strange about it was that wow, someone like that could die so quickly and so suddenly. You just wouldn't expect it. And then the second thing was to see how impactful and effective he was at changing people's lives because of how negatively everyone was affected by his death. And I think I think Allie Johnson was such a great mentor to me as a kid. And then I thought, man, look at her son. That woman was just a great mother and such a great influence. And how that passed on to the next generation, her son, who then positively impacted so many other people and so many other lives by being a good neighbor. And so if I were to, wrap this whole thing up into some short story with a lesson, it's that oftentimes we are a neighbor by default because we live within a neighborhood or we live next to other people. But does that actually mean that we are a good neighbor? And how is it that we want to be seen, or how is it that we want people to feel being their neighbor? And that's the random word generator for today. Neighbor.